Isn't it fascinating? Every year, right around mid-February, it feels like the world collectively loses its mind. The stores turn into a sea of red and pink. Dinner reservations become more valuable than gold. And there's this strange, frantic energy in the air. It's as if our entire worth as a partner, or even as a human being, is being measured by a single Tuesday in February. But there's a specific group of people who watch all of this with a sense of quiet confusion. They aren't bitter, they aren't lonely, and they aren't trying to be edgy. They simply don't care. While everyone else is experiencing a surge of Valentine's Day anxiety, these individuals are experiencing something else entirely. If you're one of those people, or if you're dating one, you've probably wondered, what is actually going on in their head? Is it a lack of romance? Or is it a psychological strength that the rest of us are missing? The first thing we have to understand is a concept called social validation versus internal validation. For most people, Valentine's Day acts as social proof. We want the flowers delivered to the office because it signals to the world and ourselves that we are loved. But people who don't care about this season often have a high degree of internal validation. They don't need a calendar date to confirm the status of their relationship. They rely on what researchers call continuous reinforcement, rather than intermittent reinforcement. Think about it this way. If you only get a grand gesture once a year, your brain craves it like a drug because it's rare. But for people who experience small, consistent acts of love on a random Tuesday in July, Valentine's Day feels redundant. It's like being offered a glass of water when you're already perfectly hydrated. You're not anti-water, you just don't feel the thirst. There's also a link to personality psychology, specifically the trait of autonomy. People who rank high in autonomy are less susceptible to what we call normative social influence. This is the psychological pressure to conform to what a group does just to fit in. When an autonomous person sees a heart-shaped box of chocolates, they don't see romance. They see a mandatory purchase. Their brain identifies the obligation behind the gift. And in psychology, we know that obligatory gestures actually provide less dopamine than spontaneous ones. For them, the fact that society expects the gift actually robs the gift of its meaning. Let's look deeper at relationship realism. Modern society puts an immense amount of pressure on our partners to be everything. Our best friend, our lover, and our spiritual guide. Valentine's Day is the peak of this expectational mountain. People who are indifferent to the holiday often have what's called a realistic attachment style. They understand that a relationship is built in the boring moments. They value the person who helps with the dishes more than the person who buys a $100 bouquet. They've managed to decouple spending from caring. And what about those who are single and indifferent? Society often tries to label this as sour grapes, but often it's actually a sign of emotional maturity. It's the ability to recognize that social pain, that sting of being left out, is actually a choice. By refusing to agree to the collective contract that February 14th is Couples Evaluation Day, they effectively opt out of the pain. They realize that the loneliness people feel isn't about being alone. It's about the comparison to others. If you stop comparing, the day loses its power to hurt you. Maybe the real romance isn't found in a crowded restaurant with a fixed price menu. Maybe it's found in the quiet confidence of knowing your self-worth, and the strength of your bond is solid every other day of the year. Because at the end of the day, a relationship that relies on a calendar to spark its fire is a relationship at the mercy of external cues. When we choose to step away from the seasonal noise, we aren't rejecting love. We are protecting it from becoming a performance. We are allowing it to be something that happens purely between two people, rather than something staged for an audience. Embrace the unmarked days, the ordinary Tuesdays, and the quiet mornings. That is where the real architecture of your life is built. If this perspective resonated with you, consider subscribing. I do deep dives like this to help you understand the world just a little bit better. And if you'd like to support the channel, you can hit the join button below. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.